Hello guys, welcome to class. This is Leonis Academy. So here we're going to be making a simple straight skirt with gathers at the hem. The gathers are optional. You can choose to do it. You can choose not to do it. So I folded my fabric into two and I'm going to mark a border line. That's to keep it on a straight line, and that is going to serve as my waist measurement. Okay, so once I have this border line, with my tape rule, I'm going to measure from the waistline. I'm going to give 1 inch above. Okay, from the waistline, I'm going to mark my hip length. You are free to measure yourself. From hip length, I'm going to mark the knee length. That is the roundness of my knee. And then I'm going to mark the length of the skirt. That is if it is not stopping on the knee. So now I'm going to mark the lines across, including the length of the skirt. So from the CF, I'm going to mark my waist, which is 30, and I'll add 1 inch for seam allowance. So once that is done, I'll move over to the hip line. I'll mark the hip divide by 4 also, and then add 1 inch for seam allowance. Now once that is done, whatever it is I have on the hip line, I'm going to minus 1 inch from it and use it to get my round knee circumference. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting the lines together. I'll connect from hip to the waist and from there to the knee line and then the hem. I hope you're following. Now if you're a new person to this channel, please consider subscribing. If you're an old person, thank you so much for coming back once more. On this channel, we'll do sewing tutorials, strictly sewing tutorials, even though there were other things before, but now we choose strictly sewing tutorials, drafting, cutting, and sewing. So I'm just making sure that the hip line is not pointed. Okay, so that is the length of the skirt. I'm going to lengthen it from the knee line to the end of the skirt on a straight line. On a straight line. So once that is done, we are done with the front. Now at the front part, the CF waistline, there's something I need to do. Maybe I'll come back to it later to avoid smile lines on the front part of the skirt. Okay, so at the waistline also, I'm going to mark my border line. I want to make it more visible. I'm going to use the ruler and mark my border line for the back. So once I mark the border line, I'm now ready to mark other things. Now as usual, the hip line for the back and the hip line for the front are supposed to be on the same line. So I'll place my tape the same way. Also at the at the hip line, so I'm just going to rule everything across. Okay, that is the hip line. I'll rule it across. The knee line, I'll rule it across, and the hem of the skirt, I'm also going to rule it across. I hope this video is actually making sense to you. I hope that at this point you're understanding something on how to draft the basic skirt. Okay, so from this part that my tape is, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch. This is to give the back a curve, what is also known as hip allocation. Okay, at the knee line also, I'll go in by either 1/2 inch or 0.5 inch. I'm going to connect these two lines to the hip line to form a curve at the back side. This fits those who has big backside. Please, if you're just straight, don't consider making this following this method because the backside might just have so much space. Okay, except you're going to be having a hip pad. Except you're going to be having a hip pad. Now I'm going to be marking the circumference of my waist. This is also going to include my zipper allowance. This is going to include my zipper allowance. I'll be marking my waist circumference plus divide by 4 plus seam allowance, zipper allowance, and that allowance for the back. So what I'm marking is 1 inch following the slant of the skirt. 1 inch following the slant of the skirt for my zip. Okay, 1 inch following the slant of the skirt for my zipper. And that is what I am marking. So from that part now I'm going to take my hip waist circumference divide by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance, and if I'm going to be having a dart, I'm going to add extra 1 again for the dart. I hope this actually makes sense to you. At the point when I'm recording this voice over, I don't know actually what is happening, but I hope it's making sense to you. So my hip circumference from the zipper area divide by 4 plus 1 inch for seam allowance. At the knee line also, I'm going to be starting from the 1 inch zipper to divide the knee just the way we got it from for the front, minus 1 inch from whatever you have at the hip line and use it to get your knee circumference. So I'll get my ruler and mark everything straight up. So it's time to cut, and I'm going to cut everything out. I don't know if it is light out or something, but I hope you can see what we are doing. Like I said before, something has to happen at the CF, so I'm going to go down by 0.75 from the front and connect it to the waist, measurement. This is to remove any kind of fold around the front part of the skirt. Okay, so with this we are done cutting the front and parts and the back part of our skirt. Right, this is it together. This skirt is not going to have a lining. It's not going to have a lining. It's just going to have only a short zipper. And the possible gathers that we're going to have at the lower part, this is what is left out of what we have. So this part, I'm going to use it to make the waistband, which is 1 inch for the waistband. I'm going to use it to make the waistband. Then whatever it is that is left, I'm going to use it as gathers at the hemline. And of course, the gather is supposed to be wider than the roundness of the hem by extra 1 or 1.5. I mean the full circumference into 2 or into 1.5 again. Okay, so this is for the darts. I'm going to use for the waistband. I'm going to use it for the waistband, and this is the leftover. So all I have to do is just to join it. Like I said, there's no lining. Just join it side by side, and this is side by side. I've sewn the darts, and then I'm going to be adding my waistband. So before the waistband, I'm going to add the zipper, join the back together, add the zipper, and then add the waistband. If you're able to cut this, sewing it will not be a problem for you. Okay, so this is the waistband. You can see the way it is. Because this fabric is quite stiff, I'm not going to be adding um stay to it. I'm just going to join it this way, and of course you can decide to join the band before joining the zipper. So this is just what I'm going to do, join the band to the skirt, and then I will join my zipper together. I hope we know how to join a zipper, and this is the outcome. Now, like I said, the gather is optional, and this is what I made out of the remnants of what is left, out of the remnants of the skirt, of the material. Okay, I'll just go ahead and weave anything that deserves to be weaved. This material here is not more than 1 yard. I decided to manage it. Of course, I hope you learned something. I hope you just learned something. Okay, this is just a quick one. I hope you learned something. For more interesting videos, please click the subscription button, and I'll see you in the next video. Like I said, today isn't just a good day, that's so well, but I believe you understood the video. Thank you for watching. Bye.